So I want to take you back to December 2021, where our Abbie was going through the festive period whilst on plan. And today we're going to talk about what that looked like and how she got through it so she can inspire all of you. Welcome to our podcast, Fuck the Diet Cycle, with myself, Lauren Knight, and Abbie Lodge. This is for you if you want to cut through the diet industry bullshit and finally end that cycle. Grab yourself a cuppa, get comfy, and let's dive straight in, shall we?
Okay, so thinking back, I remember coming into December, like hadn't even got to December, thinking, fuck it, I'll take December off. Why not? It's Christmas. What's the worst that can happen? And I'm just gonna get back to it in January. But luckily, I didn't because I wouldn't be where I am today. And I certainly wouldn't have got back on January 2022, 23, 24, and I probably would be even heavier right now. So I had those conversations with Lauren, like, I'm worried because when you go through a weight loss journey, if you are someone that has tried every single diet there is, you will have ingrained in you diet culture and all of the things that come with diet culture at Christmas as to if you're not 100% on it, then there's no point. So if you can't do it 100%, and that includes Christmas Day, sitting watching your family eating or, whatever, and you can't enjoy food, don't do it. And so that just instantly, like coming into that festive period, was part of my okay. I can't be like 100% here because I've got meals out and all things like that. So there's just no point. But having the conversations of how I was feeling and actually then sitting down and planning it, because that is something that I'd never ever done before, and nobody ever does it. Nobody ever plans December in terms of what meals are where. You just think, I've got a few meals out, that's just too much, that's too overwhelming. Actually breaking it down into this meal, I'm going there, and I will be drinking or, whatever. Because again, it's the festive period. We're not going to say you can't have alcohol at all. Like obviously just within your limits, but having that conversation that that's just one meal. And you might have a couple of meals the next week, like and working it out like as a percentage of where you can be, and then having that plan for Christmas Day, like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and picking out them things that really meant a lot to me that I wanted to have. I remember, I think I picked three in the end. Oh, I might have picked five. I can't remember. But actual things that I knew that I could have 100% guilt free and I was going to enjoy it. Obviously, one was my profiteroles. I don't care what anybody says. It's not Christmas without profiteroles if your name is Abbie Lodge. But again, in my diet mindset mentality, it was, "Cool, you can't have profiteroles and expect to be calling yourself on a diet." Well, truth is, you're not on a diet. You're on a weight loss journey, so you can have those profiteroles when you choose to have them over this period, and you can still lose weight. And I remember I still actually lost weight after Christmas. And something else that really, really sticks out for me, and it had always been, I want to call it a tradition, but it's not a tradition. It's an excuse. After Christmas, between New Year, I would not shop, not go to the shops, because I'd have bought so much food on the lead up to Christmas that I would insist that we don't buy any more food. We use everything in the house, which is, that sounds like, yeah, that's a pretty good thing. But what's in the house is a load of shit. Literally, chocolates, cheese, I don't even think we had bread, but there was nothing there to actually make like substantial meals. We was just grazing in that week between Christmas and New Year. That was just what happened, and that for me was also like a worry of, oh my God, like because my thing was, well, it's Christmas, I'm not cooking. What is that? But actually then thinking about that week, what am I gonna do? For me, it was just to get back on plan, but also planning like meals for the family. Yes, of course, if they wanted to go and eat the rest of the celebrations or the cheese board or whatever, they absolutely could. But I never had like a a routine or a meal plan for that week. And that week was where all the damage was usually done for me anyway, because I literally was like Pac-Man.
Yeah. You've hit a few things there though. So the first one being obviously that diet mentality of, well, it's Christmas. We'll get Christmas out of the way and then we'll start again in January. All that's doing is giving you the green light to let go of any of the tools that you've learned, to literally let go of any control and balance that you've started learning for you to go, well, it's Christmas. You can eat what you want. If you want chocolate for breakfast, let's go for it. And then let's just continue and continue because it's all right. I'll deal with it in January. But what people don't realize is you don't have to deal with anything in January. You also don't have to miss out. Like if you want to have chocolate for breakfast, that's fine. But then it means that you need to balance the evening up and weigh that out. And you learnt that pretty quickly once we had that conversation of, oh, hold on a minute though, Ab. Like, let's think about it this way instead. And like I say, putting those plans in place gave you back that power and it made you realize, oh, Christmas can still be enjoyed. It doesn't affect the kids. James is fine with what he's doing. Like, I'm all right, actually. I can continue. Might not be 100%, but it's going to be a damn sight better than if I just went, nah, we'll wait till January. And like you said, does January always come? Not for everyone. And that's another thing that we need to admit and acknowledge. Like, are you really going to change it in January or are you just going to let it slide? Then you come on to talking about your 3 to 5 things, right? You just sat there and said the only thing that you can remember that you chose was footer rolls, right? So does that not go with our messaging? What we say all the time, Christmas
Yeah.
isn't about the food. You don't remember it. And we're talking 3 years ago. Like it weren't even that long ago. But the one thing you do remember, and that's because you have it every year, is your profiteroles. Like that clearly, out of everything you pick, that's the one thing that means a lot. Whereas everything else, you've forgotten. But I bet you remember standing in front of that Christmas tree in that outfit that you had on.
I do remember that. I remember that very, very well. And I actually remember that night was my first off-plan meal since starting the plan. And I was going for an Indian with the stables lot. And I was so nervous about it, thinking, I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna eat everything. And then, it's done. I've messed up. No, truth is, I had a few drinks, I had a little bit of food, I was done, dusted, straight back to it the next day. But that's the key thing here is if you have got a meal, yeah, go enjoy it. Do what you got to do. Straight back to it the next day. And by straight back to it the next day, plan your next day. So if you are drinking, you have to plan, we all know what happens after you've been drinking. You crave the salty, stuff.
Greasy.
I do anyway.
Mm.
Yes, greasy, salty, alcohol, soaky, uppy foods. So you can have these things. You don't have to have them laden in grease, but you can pick a fry up, like a healthier fry up, using your fry light, things like that, bit of scrambled egg, bit of bacon in the air fryer, nothing better than bacon in the air fryer. Love it. But having that as a plan for the next day, that,
Yeah.
okay, I need to get back to it, but I've pre-planned my breakfast. So when I wake up and I'm craving all the salty, greasy stuff, I've got that there and I've got that ready, rather than I've got to drive and go to a cafe or whatever it is.
Yeah. And I use the breakfast mushroom with my clients a lot. And making sure that they've got the ingredients in there to have that and just speaking to them about if a meal replacement isn't going to cut it in the morning, let's switch it up because that's the beauty of knowing what to do when you're trying to find that balance. Switching it up, plan ahead, make sure you've got what you need there. I'm very much the opposite. I don't eat. Like if I've got a hangover, the thought of food, no, I can't. So that can go the opposite way for me because then I'll get ravenous. So I have to make sure that I've got something there that's even just something light just to eat. So a protein yogurt for me would be just substantial enough. That's
Oh,
fine. No, seriously,
on a hangover.
on a hangover, that's fine for me. So, but again, it's making sure that you know about
What
yourself, what it
works?
is that's going to happen the next day. Um, Shopping trips. It doesn't always have to be like drinking, does it? It could be that you're going out shopping for the day. right, what am I going to do for lunch? Well, you've got options. You can either put a bar in your bag, or you can step up for the day. And if you want to step up, let's think about where you might end up going. We could look at the menus, we can make the overwhelm disappear, we could take away the food noise, and you could feel in control. It's about thinking and planning ahead and knowing that there's no better feeling in this world than you having that control over food rather than food having control over you. We want you to enjoy food guilt-free, and that is what you, I think, experienced for the very, very first time properly in December 21.
I would never have experienced that. And that is something that's really, really key here. The first time I ever experienced that was December 2021. I would never, ever have experienced that, and probably would never have experienced that if I'd have given up in December. If I'd have given up, took my foot off the gas, whatever you want to call it, fallen off, whatever, I I would never have experienced it because I would not be getting back on it in January. Absolutely not. I would tell myself, but because I'd have gone crackers, in December, it's just making it really, really hard. And then February, it just snowballs on. And that's exactly how you stay stuck in this cycle. People will come to us and say, I've been in this cycle for so long, whatever, but it's Christmas, so I'm going to wait. The first thing I say is that's why you're still stuck, and that's why you're going to remain stuck for a while, because you need to acknowledge the fact that you can still do something about your health and your weight and everything in December. You don't have to. So if anybody's listening to this and thinking, oh yeah, blah blah blah. Yes, I did it 3 years ago, but had I not done it 3 years ago, I wouldn't be where I am now. So if you're thinking about, oh, I'm just going to go absolutely hell for leather over this next week or 2 weeks, whatever, and I'm going to get back to it in January, you probably won't. And you will probably gain a lot of weight in that period, and you're making your life 10 times harder. Yes, you can still enjoy every bit of that Christmas dinner or dessert or whatever, but pick those 3 to 5 things that you think, yeah, I can't go without them. Have your conversations with people, manage their expectations about what you're going to be doing on Christmas Day, about what you may or may not decline, or, things like that, and plan for that week after. That week after is the biggest killer of Christmas. People think it's like Christmas Day because, the food, but in reality, the Christmas dinner itself isn't, unless you have 10,000 roast potatoes, isn't the killer here. It's that period in between of no man's land, no planning.
Thank you for listening. If you loved it, don't forget to press that subscribe button and the little bell so that you never miss a future episode. We will be back here with a new one on Sunday at 7 a.m. We'll see you there.